Hello. I am very particularly excited to shoot this video and topic, and it's quite interesting to like see how I can actually bring a lightness to a topic that is actually quite heavy and something that you preferably want to hide, and where there's like a lot of judgment about. And drum rolls, talking about addiction, and I'm not in any mean at all want to like patronize the topic of addiction or anybody who is like really severely struggling with this. I actually would like to bring like a total different perspective of, well, first and foremost, if you're one of those people that suffer from any type of addiction, if it's like alcohol or smoking or like food or drugs, even like pharmaceutical or recreational. I think this is like the usual suspects that you think of when people talk about addiction. And I would even say, and this is me, I think we're like, I'm almost pretty bold, boldly convinced that unless you can like function like an animal, we're all addicted to something or someone, like a certain, yeah. So that, and there's like a lot of these very sneaky addictions that are so socially accepted, and I reckon like definitely like alcohol can be one of those. Eating alcohol, smoking cigarettes, depending on where you live in the world. It's a year and a half ago, I was following this whisper, and I had like this huge question in my world that I wanted to be able to process information, because I love learning and I love like expanding my world with things that I learn. And I always felt like I was hitting this ceiling or like a wall where I couldn't process it through. I couldn't like access consciousness with it. I kept like feeling stuck with the information, and like not getting out of what was like true for me, true for my body, true what's like going on, and even like, you know, further on process it with through the lens of like in other people's lives and problems and all that kind of stuff. And that particular question led me to the sparkle of when I was like in a conversation, when I was in a conversation with someone, and she was like, yeah, I went on an alcohol Sabbath for like a month, and that was so super light. Like I felt like my body buzzing, and I was like, I want to do that too. So I did that. I didn't drink for a whole month, and I didn't smoke. I really wanted to do the both of them. And I felt so much more clear. I was more in my body. I was more energized. I had more like a connection with myself that I've never had before. That I was like, wow, I'm gonna go from 1 month. I'm gonna try out 3 months and see what that creates. And that was like even better. And then 3 months became undecided. So I love to go about the idea to like not go from I'm never going to do that again, because that doesn't really work for me. If I forbid myself, I want to do it, and see if that like is something that you can relate to as well. So I give myself the option to go for like an undecided amount of time. Like I choose every day not to drink and not to smoke, and there are like some occasions where I do like drink a glass, but so comparing to I was like a regular drinker, and I never considered myself as an addict. And if I look back now, it was definitely addictive behavior as well for the smoking, as well for as the drinking. And as I went to the path of not drinking and not smoking, so like literally gifting myself the time and the space. I started off with 1 month, and basically that's all you need. You need like 1 month to break a habit. So you have like more foundational choice in it, so you can like sustain it more, and there's so much more to say about it, but like 1 month, if you can like gift yourself 1 month, and that led to, because I had more a sensitivity and a sensibility. No, I had more like a sensitivity with energy and with my body. So that led to being way more sensitized to what my body required food-wise. So that changed in the meanwhile, and I lost a size that I couldn't get back. And initially I thought something is wrong. This is not right. And I kept like getting like in touch with my body, and my body was like really happy. And usually like when you quit smoking and drinking, you gain more weight, but I didn't. And it was never my aim to lose weight, because I had like this point of view that I shouldn't weigh the amount of kilos that I weigh right now. And now I'm fine with it. It took me like half a year to like really be okay with my size, which is like still fine, and which is like probably weird for a lot of people, because most people, they want to like lose weight. And I always since I was in my teens, I always wanted to like gain weight, because I've always been naturally slim. So yeah, so to come back, changed basically like what I look at right now. I broke an addiction, and I gifted my body relaxation from the inside, which is quite interesting, because I've never really looked at it from that perspective, that when you don't put the same amount of things, or like the substances in your body that that can have like a quite effect, like a negative effect. And I'm not saying that every alcohol intake is wrong, but it is it does have a particular effect when you do it regularly, and especially like long term, that is different than when you don't drink and when you don't smoke. And I think it's basically like it all boils down to choice, and what you would like to create with your body and with your life. And for me, it was like I wanted to be able to process more of everything, and really access consciousness with everything that I read, and with the conversations that I was having, and with the thoughts that I was having. And I really have grown in this year and a half so massively. It's been such an empowering trip to employ all of the tools and all of the knowledge and all of the practices, and really making myself the source of all change, which is so different than how I approached things before. And this is where I wanted to like come next to, like, this biggest addiction that we all have. What I've discovered through the practice of one of the practices is like eating different, eating way less, and having that access of like space and relaxation from the inside, because I've never really considered like what stress we put our bodies through with eating toxic processed foods, copious amounts of foods. Our bodies don't need as much as we think or we would like to. And so basically that's space and that relaxation from the inside, and then that was like an effect on more choices that led to more space and more relaxation from the inside out, is that the thing that I had been addicted most, and probably like the disease of this whole reality, is addiction to judgment, the addiction to avoid the pain of feeling innately wrong and try to compensate it with being right about stuff, being right about your life, being right about the choices that you make, being right about like the music that I think about that. It's such a interesting example, because I used to be like, it's so interesting. I used to be like right about certain music choices, and then I felt, anyways, you can be like right about so many different things, right about the relationships that you have, right about your job. It's so insidious, and it's so much how we come to a level of rightness, like we defend it. And the thing is that as soon as and it's like that polarity that's like, so if you're not right, you must be wrong, and if you're not wrong, you must be right. And that pain, that energy that comes with it is that's like the biggest stress that we can put our bodies and ourselves on. And I know this might be a bit of a tough topic to look at for yourself, and maybe you will recognize it. It definitely has been tough for me to look at, because like in the past year, I really had to look at myself in a very vulnerable way, where I was like obsessively having like these characteristics about myself that I didn't like about me, like excessive talking about myself, or trying to be right, like all of these things that I didn't like about myself, and I saw myself doing them, or like sometimes I would still do, like I see myself doing them in conversations, and like be really like, and I could not stop myself. So this year I really went into like, how do I change this? And it took me a whole year, and finally this last month something like fully cracked open. And for the first time, I could start to acknowledge like how much I have been avoiding the pain of feeling wrong, feeling innately wrong, feeling flawed, fail at the stuff that I can't get right, no matter how much effort I do into changing it. And this has been very new in the last few weeks, is like how much I have been trying to, especially like in conversations with people where I saw myself like obsessively fill in the gaps, something that I used to do so much more than I do now, is how much I have been trying to avoid other people's pain and how much they judge themselves. And it's so interesting also for me to acknowledge that when I facilitate a class or when I facilitate a session, I'm okay. But as soon as it was personal, I had so much, and if I really liked the person and I cared for them, to be present with their pain has been up to now, and I think this is changing as I look at it, has been excruciating to be with that level of pain and like everything that is like, yeah, basically like everything on the spectrum of judgment. Deep-rooted, deep core self-judgment. And I can really have like, I can feel like that sense of relief and peace and space for like the first time ever, where I'm like, fuck, if I can do this, like how much can I invite people into having that same freedom with themselves and in their lives. And I have 2 beautiful classes coming up. It's gonna be in my mother tongue and my own language, Dutch. I am probably, there will be like stuff coming in English. And this will be about like the first is like an introductory evening, and I think like in a few weeks from here, it's on Friday evening, where I live in Anzehem in Belgium, where I'm gonna like talk about the mindset, the practices, the ways, the questions, the tools, and also like the vulnerability, like the ugliness, the darkness, the dark side of the moon with all of this, to like really share this with any who is interested in this. I'm like so excited about this. And also a 1-day training, Access Bars. It's been like one of my, has been one of my favorite practices to really clear the clutter from my hard drive and create space and a sense of peace and access consciousness with every session. So it's like a 1-day class where you learn to give it and you learn to receive it, and you have a manual and a sheet, and then you can, after the class, you can like add it into your practice, your business if you have one, but also just like share with your friends, with your loved ones. It's such a melter and space maker, and definitely has been like such a great contribution into this big journey that has been unfolding this year. to really have a different possibility of what I believe to be the core addiction of every addiction, and the core addiction that mankind suffers from is the addiction to any kind of judgment, even the positive judgment. And more on that in that class if you're interested in this, because positive judgment can jail you even more than the negative judgment, because we don't tend to acknowledge or notice that we're doing a positive judgment. But the thing is, like anything on the spectrum, if we do any judgment on the spectrum of judgment, we are not present, we're not aware, we're not accessing any consciousness, we're in a kind of conclusion. There isn't movement anymore of energy. You're like basically in the dark, and you're like closing yourself off from an abundant universe of possibilities that is like inviting you to not see anything as a problem, but as a choice, and a choice that creates awareness, a choice that creates information, and into like this creation, play, movement of living. So I hope this video was a contribution, and looking forward to hear from you, or maybe even see you in one of my classes.